So the breaking of that cycle is so important. And I knew that I had to keep going and I had to keep going forward. There's a reason for me to be here and I have to stop ignoring it.
It's Rania here, your host on The Healing Train, a podcast designed to help you lighten your load, release whatever is weighing you down, and reconnect with yourself. Whether it's a toxic relationship, childhood wounds that never healed, struggling with self-forgiveness, or on a healing journey, it's time we have these uncomfortable conversations. Let's dive deep with experts and professionals in psychology, health and wellness, and alternative healing, and also ordinary people that have been there. It may just be the fresh perspective you need to support your journey. You could even be a guest on this show. This is a space for sharing stories, a safe stop where you can pause, recharge, and know you're not alone. So take a deep breath, settle in, and join me on today's ride as we explore the path to healing together. Hop on board the healing train. On today's show, we have with us Adelaida. Adelaida is a passionate sustainability educator dedicated to transforming the way we live and dress by harnessing the power of hemp. She specializes in using hemp lime as a sustainable base for building and retrofitting homes, creating eco-friendly structures that reduce environmental impact. Adelaida also addresses the issue of clothing waste by advocating for hemp textiles and sustainable wearables, promoting a circular fashion economy that prioritizes durability and environmental responsibility. With a mission to inspire change, Adelaida combines education, innovation, and action to empower individuals and communities to embrace sustainable practices. Her work bridges the gap between traditional methods and modern sustainability, offering practical solutions for a greener future. Whether building homes or rethinking fashion, Adelaida is committed to reducing waste, conserving resources, and fostering a more sustainable world. In addition, Adelaida, also known as Addy, has a story, like many of us do. Let's find out her story. Addy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Rania.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited for our conversation because you and I know we've been trying to set this recording for the longest time, and for some reason it wasn't happening, but here we are today. So I know this is gonna be a fiery episode.
We're aligned today because I was ready for this. I've been waiting. I know we've had some interruptions in between that are not aligned, but today we are aligned. It's 444, and I'm excited to have this conversation with you and your audience.
Thank you. Thank you, Addy. I'm going to begin with a short little quote, as I always do. It's by Easy Daily Quotes, and it says, "Sometimes the bad things that happen in our lives put us directly on the path to the best things that will ever happen to us." And ain't that the truth for you and for me?
Mm-hmm.
It actually
Definitely,
matters.
I agree.
Let's get into our discussion. And what I'd like for you to start with is if you can share with us a summary of your story, because I know you have a long story. So let's try to summarize it. What I want us to do is talk about your recognition of the sufferings that you've been through. We've all been through sufferings, right? And I know it's a heavy to talk about and say that word suffering just makes you feel, ugh. But let's start with that, and then we'll end on a positive note afterwards. But let's talk about your sufferings.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Suffering. I could probably tell you that there's a lot more suffering that I'm aware of, to be honest, that I've gone through. And the beginnings of my life, I was supposed to be raised in Puerto Rico with parents, and I wasn't. I was taken out of Puerto Rico and taken to the US at 3 months old. So I had no vote. I had no say. I couldn't control what was happening. And from there on, learning how to navigate where my world was, I didn't understand that I was suffering or that I had suffered as a child or young as an adolescent until I got into the work of social services. And so some of my background is in social services where I serve the community. I serve people with not a regular or a normal way of life. So I would go out there and help them. But at the same time, I was also part of that community. But I turned it around, and instead of being part of the suffering community, I stepped out and said, well, let me help the suffering community. And at the same time, I ended up helping and healing myself as well.
That's usually the case, I would say, in most of the people I've spoken to and gotten to know. It's through their healing themselves, they're able to do the work that they now do. And perhaps that's how it was always meant, for us to awaken to our own sufferings and grow out of it.
Yes.
But it's a continuous process. Having said that, it's a continuous process because we don't just heal 100%. And we're here on the healing train, and I've been having these conversations with amazing guests, and it's always been the same. None of us are 100% healed. We're continuously
Exactly. As long as we continue to not learn, because now I've come to the conclusion that repetition and certain negativities that happen in our lives don't let us move forward because we haven't finished learning from that.
Yeah.
And so the repetitiveness of suffering or pain or negative events that happen to us or other people, I've learned to accept that it's a lesson that I've not yet captured. I haven't done that one step that gets me closer to the next step.
Right.
And so for me, it was family, abandonment, rejection, not fitting in, getting bullied, believe it or not.
That's hard for me to believe, me knowing you today.
Yeah, I was bullied as a child. Yeah, I was a skinny mini. It wasn't set in stone in the beginning. I had to grow into myself and grow into my courage and grow into my bravery.
Yeah.
But even though facial wise, everyone's always told me for a really long time since I was a child, oh, how beautiful. Oh, you look so pretty. But the beauty and the prettiness and the surface does not equate the feelings and the heart and the things that I've gone through. And so I could fake it with a smile. I have a pretty smile, but my heart cannot be unauthentic. And so that's been me the whole time that I've been looking at others is, why are you authentic and why are you not truthful? And aren't you supposed to help me and be on my side, but you're not? And so all of those things have just recently been coming together with my move to Puerto Rico and away from Connecticut.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because that's quite vulnerable to share all those thoughts and emotions. And on that subject, let's talk about your healing journey now. I mean, you touched briefly on it, but let's try to recall an event, a specific event, a pivotal moment in your life where you've decided that this is it, you're going to do the work, and you've experienced several emotions. You've mentioned a few of them, the abandonment and such, but talk to us more when you started to heal. Now what you're starting to feel.
Starting to heal began when I found out I had colon cancer. And I am 3 years, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, 4 years now, clean and nothing comes back. But when that happened, it was a confusion of pains and physical pains and my desperation, because there was just this huge desperation in my soul that I needed to reach success, to be successful at something. And so in my search to find me, I came across hemp and everything that comes with it. But then there was something still missing and I couldn't really find it. But my mind was not on me. My mind was on chasing that success. And that was in 2019, 2018, 2019. From 2020, I have, 2020, everybody came to a stop. We all know that. And during that time where we were secluded in our homes because of the COVID outbreak, that gave me more time to think. I mean, in July of 2020, I finally went to the doctors and they said, we need to see you in August 6th to be exact. And I'm like, okay, I'll come back. When I went back home, my sister came and she said, our mom's not doing well. We need to do something immediately. And so there's differences between me and my sister. We were not raised together. It is not the sisterly love that everybody assumes when you have siblings. It's a different relationship. And I was there for her and I was there for my birth mother. She was cremated in August. I didn't go to my doctor's appointment, still having physical pain. I did all of that with my sister because she needed me at the moment. And that was like the least I could do for my sister and my birth mother. We came back to Puerto Rico in August to bury her. And that was when I felt a tug. I felt the tug. I felt the pang. I'm standing there in the beautiful paradise of Puerto Rico. And I'm like, why don't I just come home? This is where I was born. Why don't I just come home and be here and do here and live here and experience it all? And so through that pain, I was decided that I wanted to come back, that I needed to be here, that I did my 40, 50 plus years in the United States, and I raised 2 daughters, and I've worked in social services. I've worked here. I've done some modeling. I've done some background acting. I've done a lot of stuff, but it wasn't satisfying to my soul. And so I came back in November, December of 2020, still going through physical pain. And a friend, an earth angel, I will always, always, always credit her with the words that she always told me. She said, you have to go back home to the hospital. You don't look good. And her and her mom encouraged me to leave. And in December 11 of 2020, I went back home. On that same flight, on that same day, I went to the ER. A week later, the next day the doctor called me, but a week later I had a biopsy. And the biopsy came back positive for cancer. And on the 23rd of December, the doctor calls. Now, with everything that I've done, all the trainings that I've been through, everything that I've done for my public and my community, I was able to absorb that as a client for me. And what I did with all of that was the first thing I said to the doctor was, what's the next step? Honestly, I told him, what's the next step? He says, surgery. And I have you for January 11th. 111. And I woke up surprisingly in a little bit of pain, not a lot. So they did a good job. And I saw my scar above my belly button. And I knew that I had to keep going and I had to keep going forward. There's a reason for me to be here and I have to stop ignoring it. There's a bigger reason for my existence. And I'm hoping that I'm on the right path. Forgiveness is very important for yourself, for others. And going through that forgiveness is not, okay, I forgive them. No, it's a process. It's time. It's being honest. It's being authentic. It's really forgiving those people you thought were supposed to help you and save you and be there for you and respect you.
Mm.
And those people can be anybody from a stranger, a neighbor, a family friend, your mom, your dad, your siblings, your uncle, your grandparents, any of those people.
Mhm.
Why? Because as a young child, we don't have autonomy. We have others that take care of us. And through them, we learn how to become. So through a lot of people, I've learned to become whatever I learned, but I never really learned to be me.
Mm.
And now I get to be me. And through all of that has brought me to a bigger place, bigger compassion for others as well, because you don't know on the surface, you can't tell what they've lived through, what they're currently going through, or if they actually want help. Because if they don't ask for it, you just can't give it to them. We spoke something earlier about not interfering with destiny or
Mhm.
what's meant to be for that person.
Mm.
But when help comes to you could either say no to it or you could say yes. And when help came to me, I said yes. I said yes, and I got it. 4 years later, I am living in Puerto Rico. I'm healthy. My kids are healthy. And I just want to keep going and talking to people and telling them self-forgiveness is one thing, forgiving others is another. And you may not really see it tangibly. Like this stone right here, I could touch it. It's tangible. I could hold it.
Mm.
But when you forgive, it's something that's just done. It's not tangible. You just do it and you feel a release. And when you feel that release, you know that you're doing it right.
Mm. I'm just taking a moment here to absorb everything that you're saying because you're talking straight from the heart. I know that your emotions are showing, and
I
thank you.
try not to.
No, that's okay. That is totally okay. We're human at the end of the day, and our stories may be in the end a story that someone else is listening to. But for us, we lived it. So when we become emotional, whether we scream or laugh or cry, it is because we are expressing what we are feeling.
Exactly.
And no one can ever feel what we feel.
No. And I totally agree with you. They could try to feel
Mhm.
what we feel. But to feel exactly what we're going through, I find that scientifically impossible.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Coming back to the notion that our sufferings aren't in vain. Most of the times, our sufferings lead us to the path that we're meant to be on, to fulfill our calling if we end up feeling aligned at some point in our life. Some people struggle their whole life figuring out their purpose. Why am I here? What am I supposed to do
Mhm.
here? Some people don't even ask those questions and live their whole life and leave the life never knowing,
Without knowing.
right? But for some of us, we find it on early, find out midway, or we found out at the end. And honestly, I don't think it matters when we become aligned. And it doesn't matter how much time is left because time is irrelevant. And when we look at how much time we have left, again, time is irrelevant because we don't know how long we're going to live. We have an average span of life, right? But
Yeah.
we've all witnessed, right? That all that doesn't mean a thing. You could live to see 100 and you could live to be 80 and you could live to be 30. And what you do in that life that you have no control over in most of the cases,
Hmm.
is what makes your life worth living and you leave a legacy. behind the work that you've done, right? And so
Yeah.
this is where I want us to go with our conversation after we've talked about the suffering and expressed our emotions. And again, I thank you for your vulnerability. It was actually beautiful. It
Thank you.
is beautiful. You're a beautiful person inside and out because you are choosing to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to show your emotions and allow others to give them the permission to also be that. So
Definitely.
that is beautiful. But again, let's
Thank
talk
you.
about how your sufferings now led you to the work that you are engaged in. I'd love for you to talk about it some more. You've hinted towards it a few times. It would be amazing if you share with us now, what is it that you're involved in?
So I am right now, today, not, it wasn't 5 years ago, but today I am a representative and a regional leader for the United States Hemp Builders Association, which is located in Canada. And and I put Puerto Rico on the map for this turn. There's been other board members and there's been other leaders in this association since it started 5 years ago. And when it started, I had no place to go because my one night that I remember in New Haven in my bedroom, it was a real heartfelt conversation that I had with God in my bedroom. And I was on the bed and I was thinking and I was doing stuff and I was working at the time, but I just couldn't find something. And I just kept saying, Lord God, listen to me. Where do I belong? Where do I go in life? Everybody has what they want to do, and I'm all over the place like a box of crayons. And so I'm laying there, and my tears are falling, and I don't know if you ever seen the movie War Room,
No, I haven't.
but it's such a great movie. It's a Christian movie, but it's a great movie. I highly recommend the War Room
Okay.
because I watched it twice. And I converted some of my closet into my prayer space.
Mm.
And I took a couple of things, and there was like a little space to the left of the closet. And I was like, that's where I'm going to do it. And so I emptied it out and I put my Bible there. I put a little lamp there. And whenever I came to do something or to ask for something or just have a conversation or pray over people or situate, I went into the closet. I kid you not. I went into the closet. These are my badges of honor. Let me show you real quick. I have them around my microphone,
Okay.
but I have my badges of honor. I don't know if you can see them. See my badges of honor?
Oh my goodness. That is
These are
quite a bunch
places
and
that I've
colorful
been
too.
to.
Hmm.
Yes. Ooh, I fell down.
That's okay.
Now, I will show you this one in particular.
Okay.
Because in the back it says, my first $56 investment in our future, Hemp Life. And it was the Yale business of legal cannabis. That was
Okay.
the first time I got that in an invitation. I had the money to pay for the ticket and I said, I'm just going to do it. And I did. And I showed up where I had no business showing up. Everyone there was either a scientist, a cannabis expert, or a financial capitalist.
Well, you
I'm
had
just a nosy,
show up
I'm just a
because
nosy neighbor trying to figure out where I belong.
you were destined to be there. You're saying you had no business being there. That's what your intellect told you. That's what the conditioning has, influenced you to believe. But no, you had every business and you deserve to be there in this room just as much as everybody that was in there. And the evidence is where you are today.
And that is the evidence, because through that all, I had no idea. There was no path, there was no steps, there was nowhere to go, A, B, C, D, none. And so I did that. I appeared there. I went everywhere that was feasible for me to go. And
Right.
in one of my encounters, I met someone named Ashley Stallworth. And I met him, and he was in one of the cannabis things. All of a sudden, what is it? Fast forward, flash forward.
Okay.
Today, he's the president of the USHBA.
Wow.
And he had no idea what the USHBA was when we met 5 years ago. And today he's president of that space. And then I tell you, when I moved to Puerto Rico, I met a woman named Amanda through the hemp association. So I kept showing up. Empty-handed, no money, no pay. I keep showing up. And today, Amanda, who was the regional leader for California, is now the vice president of the USHBA. I cannot tell you how perfect it's all aligning. Working on is the compensation of the monetary part, where I could really use that for other things, for my home life, for my business, for opening more doors, opening more opportunities. And I know it's coming. I know it's coming. It just hasn't shown up in fruition
yet.
And with the work that I want to be doing now as a director and a regional leader, I can now assume those two hats and move on to places where there will be contracts, or there will be people interested, or even educating others on how hemp can benefit all of us. Sustainability is not a fashion trend. It is a survival mechanism. If you do not have sustainability around you or with you, how are you going to, be healthy for your kids or be healthy for your grandkids? I'm a grandma right now, a 5-time grandma. And I got to be there for my babies, but I also want to make sure that this is implemented into their future. I'm doing this for my kids' future.
A brief stop at a station. If you have a story to share and feel called to tell it, if you want to share your expertise on this show, please send an email to guest@healingtrain.ca. To join me on a journey of healing and recovery, connect with me. My calendar link is in the description. This show is proudly sponsored by Say It Out Loud GG, led by the inspiring Judith Diaz, an avid change maker and passionate advocate for speaking up and raising awareness. The Healing Train podcast is honored to have her support. Now let's get back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we were interrupted yet again. Like we said at the beginning of the episode, for some reason, this episode is so much on fire that there's some crazy energy going on trying to stop this conversation from happening. But you know what? We're not letting that happen, because we're back on and Addy's ready to share more with us. And if you are watching this, you'll see that she has a beautiful hat on. And if you're just listening and you're not able to see it, what color is this, Addy? Is it pink? From on my end, it looks like pink, or almost looks the same shade as your shirt.
This is a fusion of white and red threads, and they're 55% hemp and 45% organic cotton blended together.
Wow.
So it kind of gives like a pinkish hue to the person that's looking, but you could also do the white, you could also do the red, hence why I have the red lipstick on.
Yeah.
So I could bring it out. But the hat was made in New York State. Mm-hmm. So I had brought some extra materials with me to my training camp in July of last year. And I left the materials, and this is what they came up with, because I have another bucket hat that says "Love Yourself."
Oh, I love that.
So it's the only one that came across me, and it was the only one in the store. And I love that. Love yourself first. And I grabbed the hat, and when I brought it with me, I said, well, can you make a bucket hat out of the hemp? That would be great. And hence here it is. So it was made by Bill Green Now, Sally Warren. She's a PhD and a professor, and also the VP of our organization called Bill Green Now 1. in New York State, where we are working to just get to the levels of community and also the levels of legislators and people who make decisions. So we want those two people to come together to make decisions on sustainability, food waste, how we can compost, and how the community can benefit. So they have a community, what they call a public benefit instilled inside of the practices of Build Green Now. So we don't only offer, or we will be offering, benefits for the community itself, but we also want to offer public community benefits, which is not done before. So big corporations and companies, they just want profits for themselves. We know that by everything that's going on in the world, but we want to change it. We want to be a different type of company and just go community and then rise up.
Talk to me about the objective that you have with everyone that you're working on and where you want this to go. What is your goal? I'm not going to say a dream because it starts off as a dream, but it's no longer a dream because it's in the happening. Okay. So
Yes.
what are your goals and where do you see this going?
Oh, my goals is to fit as many people in the hemp world as possible, or educate them, not fit them, but educate them to step into the sustainability that we're growing, literally and figuratively. We're growing this. So industrial hemp is not the same as CBD, which people may have the confusion on the two. And so there's a specific seed. And when we plant the seeds, we don't know what is going to happen until the harvest gets there. But these specific seeds are industrial, and then we have specific seeds for everything else. Because it's cannabis, it's always been a stigma around it.
Right.
But my goal is to educate more people and help them learn to separate the marijuana from the hemp. They look alike, but they're definitely two different benefits. The hemp has more than 25,000 uses, including fuel, housing, textiles, plastics, bioplastics that we could use today. Right now, I'm not advertising, but I have a bottle of water here, and this could be hemp plastic, meaning that this bottle of water will take at least 100 years to decompose in the earth, where a hemp bottle could take at least a month or so to decompose and go back into the earth. And hemp detoxifies the soil. Hemp doesn't, it has really great benefits. And so with everything that it's got going on, I want to be able to bring it to the world. Of course, I want to monetize off of it as well. So as an educator or a speaker on it, I want to be able to finish a book and talk about my experiences with hemp. And especially nowadays, there's a very small percentage of women in construction, very small percentage of women in construction, and very less in women in construction for sustainability.
Right.
So I said, well, maybe I could fit those shoes. And so I've been doing all of my due diligence, my trainings, and I have other experts behind me. I've been accepted into the hemp industrial world. As a matter of fact, this week or next week, they have a huge conference called the NOCO, and many hemp influencers and innovators, they reunite there in Canada for about 3 or 4 days, just sharing ideas and being with everyone. But the long term is to put my children in a hemp house, to put myself in a hemp house, and to build one where my friends and family could come and gather to. Because I want to share that with them.
Actually, I remember one time you and I were on a video call with our groups that we normally attend, and you were showing us a house, if I recall, and you were talking about how it preserves the cool air, something around that. Can you explain that to us? Because I remember being wowed. I was like, what?
The material itself, it's thermal regulating.
Okay.
So what happens is a house that's built with hemp, the walls, if it's completely a house of hemp and not a retrofit, there's two differences. completely. The temperatures on the outside, it could be 100 degrees or it could be 32 below zero.
Mhm.
Inside the house of hemp, you will not feel a thing
Mm.
because it captures it. The
Mm.
wind or the heat does not penetrate the wall. It captures it inside the air pockets of that wall, thermoregulated. It keeps it in there, does never touch the person inside the environment at all.
Mm.
And it's been proven. There's science behind it, and there's more science because the last 5 years it's been growing like weeds. It's been growing everywhere.
Mm.
And when you get the caption, when you find out what this is all about, people will want more of it. However, the foundation to get it done, we have the association, we have people who are interested, we even have natural builders who are part of it. But where does all that go if it gets lost in the sauce? Like there's no fusion for it to be in one space. And this is what Bill Green now has done with Maya Data and Voices for Progress. So
Mhm.
there's two other companies that they also are vice president and president of, where we've been able to fill that gap.
Mhm.
And so the temperature regulating walls, we either it's full or not full, complete hemp or retrofit. Because right now you see this
Yeah.
wall right here in my apartment. I could take either half an inch sheet or a full inch sheet of a panel made of hemp,
Mhm.
and I could put it across and then reap the benefits as if it was a full wall made of hemp.
Oh,
So still, even if it's just a panel of hemp, it will give you the benefits, not at 100%,
right.
because the thickness is what matters, but it will give you the benefits of cleaner air. It detoxifies your air. It sucks out and sequesters the carbon, the CO2s that are surrounding us, and we have no idea. Like I have CO2 surrounded me all, right now,
Yeah.
and I'm not clean. We're not breathing fresh air.
Right. Right.
And so that sequesters the CO2s and gives you fresh air in the inside.
Mhm.
Now, since COVID, many more people have been indoors. What is your indoor quality air like?
Mm.
It is toxic. And what can we do about it? Well, we could bring in some hemp. We
I
could do
love
that.
how you actually answered a question I was just about to ask you. I was gonna tell you what are the benefits. Can you share with us some benefits? And voila, I didn't even have to ask you because you knew and you shared them. So thank you for that. Um,
There's one more
Tell
that
me.
I need to point out is fireproof.
Oh,
Your house will never burn.
look at that.
I've done it. I've done a sample. I've actually taken a piece of, as a matter of fact, let me take you with me to my workstation because this is my podcast station. And I've converted my whole apartment into my workplace. This is my workplace right here. And I know that I have a sample, but it's fireproof, it's temperature regulating, it gives you back the soil that you need.
Mhm.
It's just an incredible piece. Oh, as a matter of fact, I
Look at that.
had my
Going on
little
a
piece here
tour.
and I can't
Oh,
find it. Sorry.
that's okay. We still got a tour. So that was a nice tour. Yeah. So, Addy, what do you need for this project to get bigger and better? Who are you reaching out to? Who do you want to reach out to you if they're willing and able to support and see where we can go? Please share.
So I know that my primary audience are those that are sustainably mindful,
Right.
the ones that don't use aluminum and they recycle their trash and they do food conservatory. So sustainable thinking minded people, you're welcome to come. And soon, soon to come
Mhm.
is my podcast, Hemp Fusion podcast. So hemp fusion would be something that I will talk about hemp, anything that comes up with it, and how we can fuse it into our regular daily lives.
Mhm.
So, for example, I got rid of all my jeans and I started buying jeans made of plastic bottles.
Oh.
And so I have 2 jeans only right now that are made with recyclable materials, and they're made of plastic or made from plastic bottles. So that for me is a contribution towards sustainability living. And so those little tricks and trades I'd like to give to other people, because it's just small changes that you make through time that the long haul, when you look back, all those small changes become that itself, your sustainability life.
Yeah.
And what I would love is for others to be interested in it and find me, look for me. How do they find me? Hemp Fusion PR is my email, and just be educating everyone on what they can do. There's so many small steps they can make towards that. Now, if they want to get into fashion, soon I want to be able to duplicate the bucket hat and the vest in hemp materials and hemp fabrics and have that available either online or at a physical store. So that's in the works. It's in the works with a designer here in Puerto Rico. So we're working on the fashion part of it.
Yeah.
And after that, just I don't know, I want to build my first project of hemp. And I'm looking forward to doing that here in Puerto Rico and also in Connecticut.
I am so excited for you because the passion that you talk about and the knowledge that you have. Honestly, while you're talking, I'm listening. I'm like, but you're talking a different language to me because I don't know this. This is not my thing, right?
And
But
I get that a lot.
you've studied this. It shows that you know what you're talking about and you're still learning. And like you said, you have experts and researchers and right from different industries together to make this happen. And it's a dream that's becoming a reality, there are goals and you're making it happen. And it shows the happiness, the excitement shows on your face. And all
Definitely.
that, Addy, we're going to go back again to where we all started, that sometimes the worst things that happen in our lives lead us to the best things that happen for us. And sometimes we got to go through the sufferings. And even if we don't understand it at the moment while they're happening, but they lead us to something beyond what we can imagine and what we could ever know. We just have to live it day by day, moment by moment. Never give up on us, on ourselves, right? When doors shut, others will open, right? Do the healing, work on yourself. Don't accept that, hey, this is the cross I've been given to bear. Oh, I hate that statement so much. You have no idea. And I'm sorry if I'm offending anyone out there who believe it, but I don't believe it. I don't believe that we have to bear anything. I believe we can make changes. I believe that we have the power. I believe that we could make anything we want, and as long as it's in the highest good, of course.
Yes, it has to be in the highest good. And what I learned is if you are dishonest with your own heart, because we can be, it will never flow. You have to have a mindset flow, you have to have a soul flow, and you have to have a heart flow. If those three are not connected, whatever steps you do, whatever words you say, whatever intentions you have, they're not going to coincide. It's going to be all convoluted and confused. And so, yes, it starts with forgiveness of yourself, loving every part of you. I used to hate my toes. Now I love them. Okay. Even that can impede a full head to toe commitment to yourself. And we don't learn that as children. We watch as children when people love other people, and then we assume that we have to just love other people. They never teach us we need to love ourselves first. And our very first relationship is not with your parents, is with yourself. Then you have a relationship with your parents. But you got to learn how to love you. And that's not something that is taught or implemented in many ways. And it should, I think. It can and it should.
you're not the first person. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're not the first person on this podcast who have mentioned about the parenting and where we grow up, the environments, the schooling. I've
So
mentioned
important.
this in several of the episodes, and thank you for reaffirming that, because
Yes.
we have to keep on saying it. We have to keep on repeating the same message until it gets through here, right? And we start to make those changes.
Yes. And the changes, I know I've made changes. I know I broke my family cycle, whatever family cycle was there previous to me. I know I broke it because of my circumstances, because of how I was raised, and because of what I saw when I became a mom for the first time. In 91, I gave birth to my oldest daughter, who is now 33, and she's a mother of three. And I had to change everything for my children because my relationship with my mother wasn't there. I had nothing to learn from that except forgiveness and understanding of what happened between our relationship. But I knew that I couldn't give the same thing to my children. So I had to do it differently. And because of that, 30 years later, I can honestly, physically see the changes that I implemented in my cycle. My children are raising their children differently today. They are not going through the same sufferings that I went through. They endured some suffering as well, but not as much that will make an impact on their lives that they're now saying, I've suffered. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so the breaking of that cycle is so important, because if you do not give more to your children and teach them that there's a different way to be loving and compassionate for themselves and loving and compassionate for others, then who are you raising? I'm just asking, who are you raising? Because long after you're gone, they're adults here and they have children and they're repeating the cycle. And the children of my children will not feel pain or regret or any of that unless it is destined for them to go through. That's the way I look at it.
No, you're absolutely right. And this brings me to a very important question that we need to ask ourselves, which is how to differentiate between a type of suffering that is meant to teach us something and a type of suffering that we need to release and walk away from because it's what we need to do. That's pivotal in our journey of healing, when we recognize our sufferings and what it means.
So for me, I can answer that to differentiate both the sufferings of those two levels. My relationship with my mother was not that great. And so that was an internal suffering for me that I had to make amends to. And let's just say the suffering of there's no heat in the house. I didn't pay the bill. I got to wait till I pay the bill. So when the money comes, I can, pay the bill and end my suffering from the cold weather in Connecticut.
Right.
So those are, if you stand there and look at that suffering or the pain or where it came from, you've got to learn how to decipher, this is my long-term pain that I need to work with, and that's going to take some time. At some point, I'm never going to feel it again. And this one, I can handle it with either a payment, a phone call, or just plain and simple waiting it through. Sometimes we don't have to do anything and it just solves itself. I've done that a few times, and trust me, it has worked out in the most positive way. And so when you feel that you have to be controlling everything or be on top of everything or see where everything goes so we can have a great outcome, sometimes we don't need you to interfere. Mind your business.
Sit back and watch and see everything unfold.
Exactly. Sit back and just let it go. Let it be. Let it ferment. And so you yourself can make that choice, whether it's a right choice or a wrong choice. Henry Ford said it the best. If you do it what is it?
Whether
If
you
you
think you
make
can or can't, either way, you're right. I actually have this
exactly,
quotation on my
exactly.
blog, and I've had it for many years, so I stand by that truth.
And so then I'm reaffirming that what you're standing on is real. Because right now my chicken skin is letting me know that this is all real. You see this? It's all, they're all standing up at attention right now, my hairs. So that confirms to me that we are on the right path, and we're aligning with what we're talking about. And if anything I'm saying is used for confirmation, then let that be. In my career as a presenter, as a facilitator, I've always had the gift of setting an example, just to set an example so people could really capture what I'm saying. And for some reason or other, I am saying an example of someone's life, or someone that they experienced something connected to my example.
Yep.
I don't know them from Adam. I don't know them. I just met them.
Yeah.
And I could say something. They're like, oh, that's me. You're talking about me. And I'm like, am I for real?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that throughout my life. So I'm really good at saying things that are not prepared, very impromptu, but they make sense. And sometimes I love the way that ends up.
Because of, like we said, alignment. When you're in alignment, when you're in living by your calling, by your path, when you're doing the inner work, when you're figuring it out as you go, when you're doing the healing. And one word you said describe you, I thought, although I don't like to use any words to describe anyone because I don't like identifying with any word, but you're a cycle breaker. You're a cycle breaker. You said it several times when you were talking about your story. And it makes so much sense when you look at your family life, relationships, you as a mother, you in the career, you with friendships, with whatever it is. You are in the center, you are the common denominator, and then have all these branches. And right there are in the center, Adelaida, the cycle breaker. You're going to break every single cycle in every single aspect of your life. Whether you've seen it or not up until this moment, I'm not sure if you have, but maybe there's a reason why we're having this conversation, for me to put it out there and say, Adelaida, you are the cycle breaker and you should be damn proud of it, because you're making changes happen as you're breathing every second,
Yeah.
as you show up in every room.
And that's confirmed this last month when I had to go to Connecticut to take care of my daughter and have her have an extra person to help her out and transition from maternity leave back to work, because that's a mental transition, a physical transition. You just don't pick up and go and leave your baby behind and be like, okay, I got to go back to work. We're not automatic. We're not robots. We're not drones, to be honest. And so when I did that,
Grandma to the rescue.
I did change that cycle in my children and the way they're raising their children and what's going on in their lives. And I'm very pay attention to detail. And so when I left with such a satisfaction, and my cup runneth over, that my biggest role in my life is being a mom, and not just for me. And I'm very happy and proud of that, to be honest.
I'm proud of you, but I am not taking any credit for it, because you're doing it. You're doing it. I'm just so blessed and honored that life has put us in each other's path, that we have this bond and connection, and that we're having this beautiful conversation that for some reason was being interrupted more than once.
Universe, what you were thinking?
Yeah,
we're two strong women here. You're up against a force,
There you go. There you go. I love the spirit.
And before I go, I have to mention Bomb Global.
Yes, please.
I have to mention Bomb Global. Empower to inspire, building a lady's leadership mindset. When Nikki created this and when she put it out there, I was not one to commit. I started things and I let them go. I started things and I let them go. And they just didn't serve me. It just didn't feel right. It wasn't a good fit. And so I started things and I'm okay. I'm going to keep looking. But with this Bomb Global community and the Ladies of Leadership, there I've been able to build up more confidence in myself. I've been able to do more and be more and commit to show up, which is the beginning of anything. And so because I've done it so long now, it's a habit. Like when they cancel a meeting, I feel like naked. Like, where do I go at 6 o'clock on a Monday night?
I hear you. I hear you. I'm glad you mentioned it.
But that group, the group, you and all the other ladies, and they, when they're talking, you all inspire me to be better. And so hence why I've created my little podcast corner in my own apartment. Because soon, Fusion PR, where pa mi gente? That's what I want.
I love the excitement. I really do. It's amazing how our conversation went from talking about suffering, crying a little bit, and then excitement, all kinds of emotions. It's almost like the weather here in Canada. You can experience
and it's
all
almost like the
four
weather here in
seasons.
Puerto Rico.
Like seriously. But that this is authenticity here, people. Whether you're watching us, whether you're listening to us, you can see that this is real. The connection between the two of us is real. The conversation is real. Everything that we are saying is coming from here, from the heart, right? And we're sharing it with everyone so they can connect and relate and understand that it's okay that you go through suffering sometimes. It's not okay, of course, but understand that there may be a reason behind it, right? It may not be in vain, and it's up to you not to let your suffering go in vain.
Exactly. And with that, many can look at what they've gone through in the past. But many times our suffering isn't meant for us, although we're going through it. We got to look at other people behind us, like our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors. Like, what are we carrying? And this is why I love that you said I'm a cycle breaker, because what are we carrying? We carry on other things that don't really belong to us. So learning how to let it go is when it shows up, you say hello, but not today. Try tomorrow, and you keep it moving. And so you recycle that until it no longer shows up, and you replace it. It's not easy. It's a practice, but you have to replace your negative thinking or negative words. And I've come up with a few still. I'm not 100%, but I know that I'm more 80% more positive today than I was 10 years ago. And that slowly but surely, take that, look at it, examine it, wonder why, ask those questions, and then come inside yourself and love yourself deeply, unconditionally, and do that every day and see how that changes, because it will change. It did for me. Trust me when I tell you it did for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Addy, for showing up today, for sharing everything you shared, and for being a cycle breaker. We need more of you in this world.
Yeah.
And on
but
that
who
note,
knows? We could probably come up with an ebook, cycle breaking book together.
Probably.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, everyone. You never know what's going to come out of this conversation.
Tips on cycle breaking. Let's do it.
I love it. Addy, have a beautiful rest of the day. Thank you again, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you. Namaste, and blessings and prosperity to you, the Healing Train podcast, and Rania, the best host I've been on with. Don't tell the other hosts. Don't tell the other hosts.
I won't. Thanks for riding along with me on the Healing Train. I hope today's journey brought you a little more peace, insight, and maybe even a few smiles. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like and share so others can hop on board and benefit too. If you are on a healing journey and want to work with me, connect on Facebook or on Instagram at R2R Coaching. All the links are in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss a stop on the Healing Train journey. And until next episode, keep on healing you.